Christie Max Williams, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this November edition of the 22nd year of the Arts Café Mystic. We'd like to thank you for joining us on this November night as we all look ahead to Thanksgiving. I'm reminded of these concluding lines from Swinburne's great poem. From too much love of living, from hope and fear set free, we thank with brief thanksgiving whatever gods may be, that no life lives forever, that dead men rise up never, that even the weariest river winds somewhere safe to sea. Well, that may explain why nobody reads Swinburne anymore. But beside Thanksgiving, it is hard to find anyone with a good thing to say about the month of November. Perhaps, though, you remember this bardic snatch of wit that goes like this. No warmth, no cheerfulness, no healthful ease, no comfortable feel in any member, no shade, no shine, no butterflies, no bees, no fruits, no flowers, no leaves, no birds, November. That's more like it. For those of you new to the Arts Café, our mission is to present the nation's most celebrated poets and writers along with New England's best musicians in programs that lift your spirits as they deepen your minds. And if we have a little fun along the way, God help us. We have for you tonight what we think will be a monster of a show, headlined by the wildly accomplished novelist, essayist, poet Jill Bialosky, and featuring The Sea. But first, as an opening voice, we have something completely different for you, which comes in the form of a play. The play is titled A Conversation with an Ordinary Glass of Water. And the play's author is Melanie Greenhouse. You'll all remember that Ms. Greenhouse is a playwright, poet, and writer in these parts. As many of you know, she collaborated with yours truly in conceiving and founding the Arts Café, and she directed this series for its first decade. Her plays, including This Point of Land, referring to Noank, and Chestina Vanessa Polson, have been produced in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Virginia. She also founded and runs Gray Dawn Breaking, which uses poetry to enhance memory and cognition among residents of assisted living communities. A Conversation with an Ordinary Glass of Water will also feature the illustrious playwright and actor Michael Bradford. Mr. Bradford is a professor of theater at UConn, whose award-winning plays have been produced in New York at the American Place Theater, the Manhattan Theater Club, the Negro Ensemble Theater, among others. His plays have also traveled across the nation to stages in Seattle and Chicago, and abroad to Portugal, Romania, Havana, and the UK. But with all, in an effort to keep this introduction as brief as the play is, let me urge you to welcome Melanie Greenhouse and Michael Bradford as they perform A Conversation with an Ordinary Glass of Water.
Thank you. Christie, while he's getting the stage set, I would like to just express my gratitude in this season of giving thanks to Christie, who has sustained and elevated this project to one of the finest poetry venues in the country, and forged a healthy partnership with the Arts Center board, collected such an able troupe of volunteers who happen to be mostly family members. And I would like to add that Michael Bradford took a very important role in the very beginning of this project back in the 90s when we were getting off to our first tentative steps. So thank you, Michael. There is a backstory to the play, but I will not go into detail. If you want to hear about it later, I'll share that with you. But it is important that you all be able to see this glass of water, because through the power of the poetic word, you will actually be able to see the stage directions as they are spoken. So, a conversation with an ordinary glass of water. A large glass of water sits on a park bench. A man approaches.
How do you do? You mind if I sit here? Been here long?
A slight ripple appears on the water's surface.
You don't say.
Particles begin to swirl within the glass.
Did I say something to upset you?
The vortex within the glass settles, but the formerly clear glass of water is now cloudy.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Here you are enjoying this beautiful day out in the park, and a bumbling idiot intrudes on your solitude. I'll go.
The upper half of glass becomes suddenly clear.
Does this mean you don't mind if I sit? Thanks. I used to come here when I was a kid. Sat on this same bench with my granddad. Been a long time. Used to love it here.
The glass returns to its original clarity.
Park's different now. Used to be a pond over there. Used to be full of lilies, bullfrogs, giant carp.
A goldfish suddenly appears in the glass of water.
I see you have a sense of humor. Me and my brother used to spear the bullfrogs and net the carp.
The goldfish disappears.
Pond's all dried up now. Mud puddle.
The water grows muddy.
You mind if I ask you a personal question?
The mud gathers into a question mark.
You ever been in love?
Water turns pink.
I mean, passionately, obsessed.
Water turns a translucent red.
Then she rejects you. Just the same, all you can think about is her. So you follow her. You follow her to all the moves she makes, from her apartment to her car, from her car to her job, from her job to her car, from her car to the market, to her apartment. And she meets some guy. And you watch her window from the shadows. And all you feel inside is rage and hurt, pain.
Water turns an opaque red.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
The blood settles to the bottom of the glass. The top half is clear.
It's pretty damn awful.
The blood slowly dissolves, and water grows clear again.
You know, you're right. Time passes, the ache passes, passion mellows. Maybe it was all hormones, chemistry that turns you into a maniac, a lunatic. All for love. Otherwise, why would a guy act like that? Huh? Some force beyond control, eros, libido. They got names for everything.
Water becomes effervescent. Bubbles rise to the surface.
You've been there, huh?
Water becomes still again.
You believe in miracles?
A tiny figure of Jesus appears on the surface.
Yeah, like that kind of miracle. Ha! Here's a miracle. Me lugging my carcass out of bed in the morning to go to a boring job every day, day after day, a job that sucks the life right out of me.
The level of the water is reduced by 3/4.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to drag you down or nothing. But hey, I'm sure I can think of a miracle, a real one. Give me a sec.
Drops of water fall into the glass from above so that water reaches its original level.
Hey, here's a miracle. I gave up booze. Been dry for 4 years. Yeah, it's a miracle.
Water turns the color of pure scotch.
Don't go trying to tempt me. My old lady would grind me to a pulp if she so much as caught a whiff of liquor on my breath.
4 ice cubes drop noisily into the glass.
You testing me? I could walk away right now. I could.
Water remains the color of scotch. Ice begins to cause condensation on the outside of the glass. Ice melts completely.
You're up to something. Did somebody from AA put you up to this? Mean bastards. Guess I showed them, huh? Piece of cake. You know something? It's a darn sight easier turning away from liquor than women. Tell you that much.
A bare-chested mermaid appears in the water. But man, still recovering from his previous temptation, hasn't seen her yet.
Women will flash you that come hither look. Next thing you know, old sleepyhead's awake and 6 inches away from committing adultery.
Inside the glass, the mermaid is making that sly come hither look, beckoning the man with fluid arm movements. Come close, closer.
Well, I'll be damned. You messing with my head? Huh? Why, I oughta...
The mermaid disappears.
You know, I have a sense of humor to a point, and then I reach a plateau. I can't see anything to laugh about here. You want to hear a story? I used to swim. Used to be a swimmer for high school. Swam long distance. Made it to all state. I had stamina, muscle tone, worked out, you know. Good shape.
Water turns a swimming pool shade of blue.
Then I was at the ocean, right? I mean, I can swim long distance, 500 meters, no sweat. I'm swimming beyond the surf. Next thing you know, I'm out in the ocean, a mile away from shore. Time for me to swim back in, but I can't. I'm swimming every stroke I know, can't get back to shore. Riptide. Huh? Nobody ever told me anything about riptides.
A shark appears.
You see, I was used to swimming pools. What do I know about riptides? I was getting tired, trying to fight it, starting to panic, imagining sharks, or... And then it's as if someone or some instinct took hold of me and said, go with it. Surrender to it. Let it take you where it wants to go. So I'm floating, being swept out to sea. No idea where this thing is going to take me. And finally, I feel it lose its hold on me. And I realize this sea couldn't give a damn if I lived or died. This body of water could keep me afloat as easy as it could let me drown and not give a damn.
Neptune with a trident appears in a funnel.
You see, what's more, I had the same power. Either allow myself to be swallowed up by the sea or let it carry me back to shore. It was basically my choice. Well, here I am. I could have been a victim, but decided, hey, that's for wimps. Not my style. So I had some personal encounter. I've had some personal encounter with water, up close and personal.
A personal ad appears inside a bottle in the glass.
Here's some facts. Water is the source of all life. You probably already knew that. If you want to take over a country, get control of its water supply. And the human body is 70% water, so we're related. In a way, you're part of me.
Water becomes clear, simple water again.
You're what you call versatile. People swim in you, bathe in you, water their lawns with you, make soup with you, skate on you when you're solid. You freeze, you boil. And because we use you, I suppose you think you can do anything you please. Make floods, tsunamis, droughts. You're a lifesaver, but you kill, too. Thousands of people, if you're in a mine. Like you haven't got a conscience. Maybe that's your way of getting back at us. Who am I to judge? Just a bumbling idiot, right? On the wagon for 4 years. You ever get thirsty? Stupid question. Stupid question to ask water. How about hungry?
A shipwreck appears at the bottom of the glass.
We used to be able to drink you whenever we were thirsty. Now, if you drink anything but bottled water, you take your life in your hands. I remember days when water was clean and sex was dirty. Nice day. Getting hot. I could use a cool drink. Can I get you something? Some fishermen, some Haitians, some immigrants, Syrian refugees. I must have left my cash at home. Save my spot. I'll be right back.
Shipwreck disappears.
A wise man once told me that truth is water before it's in a glass. Now, every time I think about truth, I try to imagine what you would look like if you weren't encased in something. To tell the truth, it's even hard to imagine water on Mars.
A red planet appears inside the glass.
Conversation with an ordinary glass of water, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Bradford and Melanie Greenhouse. Just as soon as a conversation with an ordinary glass of water is published, we will put it on sale at the Arts Café, you may be sure. In the meantime, I'd like to take this moment to thank our friends at Bank Square Books for their support. Mystic is lucky to have such a hip and friendly bookstore, and we are grateful for their friendship. I also want to thank the Mystic Art Center, soon to become the Mystic Museum of Art, for welcoming the Arts Cafe again. Our community is fortunate to have such a resource, and we are grateful to be at home here. So, on with the show. In what is clearly a liquid theme for the night. The Sea is the name of the remarkable duo of singer-songwriters whom we're very excited to welcome back to the Arts Cafe. Chuck E. Costa and Myra Stanley are the young talents who make up the Sea. And because you studied your ancient Greek and perhaps particularly steeped yourself in the works of Xenophon, and most particularly his masterpiece, Anabasis, you will remember that touching moment in the story when the Greek soldiers, in returning to their coastal homeland after an arduous inland war, cry out in joy, "The sea, the sea." But the classical name adapted by these young musicians is not all that's remarkable about them. Their superb debut album, which they've been touring for the last 18 months, has as its title, "Love, We Are, We Love," which of course you immediately identified as a palindrome. and which is the sort of literary sparkle that informs their song lyrics, which American Songwriter magazine has called smart and articulate. But most remarkable of all is the sound of the sea, in particular, the close harmonies that stamp the originality of their music. Huffington Post has described them as two of the loveliest male and female voices you ever might hear. NPR has given them a shout out on its 10 songs public radio can't stop listening to. But let's hear for ourselves as we welcome the sea, the sea.
Wide awake and it's hard to say if I'm getting closer, moving further away. It's hard to say. Kid on a carousel, up on the Ferris wheel, feels so good, don't it? Lost in the moment till we're found. Oh, I wanna go back, oh, I wanna go back around. Tell me when we get to the other side, 'cause I will keep on running. Oh, we always running, even if it all falls apart. I will keep on running. Are we always running? So I've been going in circles, knowing times are lonely when time's your only friend and doesn't stay. For so long I stood there in its way. Tell me when we get to the other side, 'cause I will keep on running. Are we always running? Even if it all falls apart, I will keep on running. Are we always running? I'm wide awake and it's hard to say if I'm wide awake and it's hard to say if I'm wide awake and I'm wide awake and it's hard to say if I'm wide awake and I keep on, keep on, keep on. Tell me when we get to keep on, keep on, keep on. Tell me when we get to keep on, keep on, keep on. Tell me when we get to keep on, keep on, keep on. Tell me when we get to. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, good evening, everyone. It is so lovely to be back. We are going to play a bunch of new songs for you tonight. That was one of them. But we also are going to play just a couple of our favorites. When you are a harmony duo, at some point someone will ask you if you know any Simon and Garfunkel songs. And there comes a point at which you very happily answer, yes, we do. So we thought we would learn one of our favorite Simon and Garfunkel songs, and then promptly realized that this particular song they don't actually sing in harmony.
But they are, our arrangement is available if they're interested. We've kept that option open.
Tom, get your plane right on time. I know your particle fine. Fly down to Mexico. Don't do and here I am, home living boy in New York. I get the news I need from the weather report. I can gather all the news I need from the weather report. Hey, I got nothing to do today but smile and doodle, and here I am, the only living boy in New York. Half of the time we're gone, but we don't know where, and we don't know where. Get your plane right on time. I know you've been eager to fly now. Hey, let your honesty shine, shine, shine. Now don't doodle like it shines on me, the only living boy in New York. The only living boy in New York. Here I am. Here I am. Here I am. Here I am.
Thank you. All right, so this next song is called All the Diamonds. And I was talking to Chuck one day, and I was like, this song it's sort of like how hindsight is 20/20. And then Chuck said,
You said it's how hindsight is always
20/20.
And I just thought, I don't know if it always is, but I'd say it's a longer conversation. But it's debatable, I think.
At least if it's not 20/20, it's 2040 or something like that. You know a little bit better after the fact.
treasures in all of the seas, all the flowers in all of the fields. Bring it back to me. Bring it back to me. After I knew it, I was lost. So much for what it wasn't, so much for what it was. After I knew it, I was free. But the moon shone full on empty streets. And all the diamonds in all of the mountains, all the treasures in all of the seas, all the flowers in all of the fields. Bring it back to me. Bring it back to me. All the diamonds, all of the mountains, all the treasures, all of the seas, all the flowers, all of the fields. To bring it back to me. 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 Bring it back. Bring it back to me.
Thank you.
Thank you. This room is just such
So
a
fun
joy
to sing in.
play in. Thank you all so much for being here. We're going to do, this is the only other song that we haven't written from this set. And we learned it, it was like last year, the year before, one of the many times when somebody was predicting the end of the world. And we thought we had a show planned for that night, so we thought, we should address the subject maybe.
We thought about learning REM's song "End of the World," but there were a lot of words in that one.
So we learned another song called "End of the World." It was made famous by Skeeter Davis a few years ago,
And Chuck's gonna play it on a really ominous instrument.
we figured it's the end of the world, so let's try to be happy, go out happy, or make. I don't know what I'm saying.
Why does the sun go on shining? Why does the sea rush to shore? Don't they know it's the end of the world? 'Cause you don't love me anymore. Why do the birds go on singing? Why do the stars glow above? Don't they know it's the end of the world? It ended when I lost your love. I wake up in the morning and I wonder why everything's the same as it was. I can't understand his eyes, mine cry. Don't they know it's the end of the world? It ended when you said goodbye. It ended when you said goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, as Mira mentioned, we're playing a bunch of new songs tonight for you. We are actually next week, or the week after next, we are recording all these songs. We're really excited about it. The CD that we have today is the one that Christie mentioned, which thank you for that introduction. You describe our band name 100 times better than we ever do, so much appreciated.
And you pronounced the album name correctly. Love, We Are, We Love. You are probably would not be surprised to hear how many times that album title is mispronounced. we started keeping a list. It was Love, We Are, One, We Are, We Love, We Are, and and pretty much anything you could imagine. Well, this song is called Pretty Penny.
Since I've seen you smile. So will you tell me out there's a world so wide? If that's true, how come we lose ourselves inside? It's been a long time since I've seen you smile. Ooh, such a long time since I've seen you smile. Spinning with the lonely weather vane. Whoever knows the winds knows them only when they change.
Thanks so much. We're going to do one more real quick one.
Yeah, we're going to do the title, the Love We Are We Love from our first record. Thank you guys again so much. This is such a pleasure. And please come say hi afterwards. We have a suitcase full of goodies and a mailing list, or just come say hi.
Love, we are young, too old, too soon, too old, too young. Are we love? We are young, too old, too old, too young. All too young. We are young, too old, too old, too young. Are too young. Are young, too old, too old, too young. All too young. Are we love? Are we love? Are we?
Introducing Jill Bialosky to you is the sort of moment the Arts Café is all about. Ms. Bialosky is celebrated as a novelist, essayist, memoirist, editor, and poet. Is there another American author so accomplished in so many literary disciplines? Born and raised in Cleveland, she lives now in New York, where she is an executive editor at Norton. Some day job, huh? And she writes. She's the author of 3 highly regarded novels, including the recently published the prize, which has been hailed as a true and dangerous novel. Her mighty memoir, History of a Suicide, was a prize-winning bestseller, and her work of every sort appears regularly in the most prestigious venues, including The New Yorker, The Nation, and the Oprah magazine. Would that it were the Opera magazine. Somehow, however, throughout all this literary activity, she has continued to write poetry of the highest order. Her 3 previous books of poems earned her several honors, including the Eliot Coleman Award and shortlisting for the James Laughlin Award and the Patterson Prize, among others. And then came this year's publication of her 4th book of poems, The Players, which has become a bit of a cause célèbre. Much has been said about manhood, the opening sequence of poems in The Players, in which the poet uses baseball as a lens through which to consider a son's coming of age. Indeed, the poems of manhood are notable for their originality and ambition, as they use the raw voice of the game to get at the emotional tenderness of male adolescence and how it ripples through families and communities. But there is much more to The Players than boys and baseball, including a superb sequence of a dozen sonnets at its central heart, which mix comic and rueful observations of change. These changes become a sort of sympathetic setting for life's passages. Change, if you will, as a metaphor for change. The Players concludes with a section of sparkling lyric poems whose gem-like lines get to the quick of the ways in which family generations teach us the meaning of love while exacting from us the pains of our loving obligations. We read the poems of Jill Bialosky for their deep, intelligent emotion. Hers are brave poems, but not raw. They're instead considered, closely examined, and as a result, as you'll see, trustworthy. But I want you to hear for yourself, so won't you please join me in welcoming Jill Bialosky.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes, great. Thank you. Wow, that was such a lovely introduction, Christie. I'm so moved by that. And I am very happy to be here tonight. This is a great venue. You're all so lucky to be able to hear poetry and great music and that very interesting play. I enjoyed it very much. In fact, these are tough acts to follow. But I am going to read the poem that Christie mentioned, Manhood, which is at the heart of my book, Players. And it's a poem in 13 parts, and it uses the language, the chatter, and the drama of the baseball field. It's players, mothers, fathers, coaches, spectators to examine issues of attachment and family and relationships and gender. So actually, this is the first time I'm going to read the whole poem, so I hope it goes well. And then I'll read you a few sonnets, which have a theme of the sea again, so we can end with the sea. So manhood. 1, chatter. Turn 2, balk, wait a hump. Hey now, kid, hey now, good eye, that's all right, good cut, inside, watch the batter. Hey, way to drop it in there, kid, that's the way to hop, let's go. Throw the baseball now, heads up, dig, 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 batter safe, we got him in a pickle, he's out, look at that chug-a-lug, good scoop, next one's coming. Going, good rip, stretch that, go to, go 2, now we got 3. 2, manhood. If I say slide, get dirty. If I say stay, don't run. 2 dead, make it 3. Let's go, kid, good idea, take it for the team. It's raining, the smell is mint and grass, dust and dirt, and the deeper odor of the body. The boy goes for the catch, slips and falls. We don't slow down, we don't slow down. Wipe it off your face and shrug it off. Win the battle, get mean. 3, the hot dog. You can see I had a lot of fun watching baseball. 3, the hot dog. Watch him flip them the bird after the ball comes flying. A line drive hit hard between first and second, just outside his reach. He dives for it, catches it, and lobbies it to first. Years of practice, mornings up before dawn, long afternoons cascading into dusk. No one can touch him. Out on the field, under the commanding sun, he's claimed his position. He is old enough to know his story is no longer his coach's nor his father's. When the outfield retires and he takes the plate, look, watch him pound it out of the park. 4, the pack. Like wolves who rely on scent markings to define and mark territory, they mentally define their space. They know exactly what patch of ground is theirs to protect, how far they'll have to stretch, slide, pull back, or lean in. Sometimes they get down on their haunches, dig in their cleats, pound their fists in their mitt to stave off their opponent. Their eyes widen at every movement. Sometimes they have to circle each other, be backup, take one out to save the pack. They know each other's strengths and weaknesses. Their odor is fierce and feral. 5, mind game. It was a thinking game. You had to know the rules and the plays. You had to know them so well you could do them in your sleep. And sometimes in your sleep, it was all you could think of. What to do if men were on second and third and offense bunts to first? Which guy do you throw out? The thinking came in handy. You had to not always think with your balls, the Dominican coach had warned. Use your cabeza. You knew not to laugh when the coach was angry. It was a head game, and sometimes the head got up and you were off your game for weeks, hit like a girl. Speaking of which, the rules applied there too. Know when to step back, and you had the ball right in your hand. It was like the sound of the wind through the trees, her hair caressing your face when she leaned in. You had to think with your body so that soon you were not thinking at all. Soon something had taken hold, and it was as though another, more enlightened being emerged, and you knew exactly what you were doing without thinking. The feeling was light as air, quick, confident. It was like having the girl right there beside you. There was nothing better than the adrenaline rush when you knew you'd beat out the batter, when you snapped that ball and threw and it landed straight in the other player's mitt, and the player was called out. And through the diamond grill in the fence, your eye caught hers, and your body exploded into bliss. And this one is called The Girls. The day the boys played us, it was not in our beds or in the back seat of a car or in a field on a blanket. They played us with the magnificence of their bodies. They did not know that when we watched them play with skill and grace, like chess masters advancing pieces on a board, silent guardians of their own sacred positions, they had us. Their bodies were like fortresses, their minds half-barred windows. They played us with intensity. They played us eager, and as they played us, we knew we were different. What we liked most was their strength, the throbbing muscles in their necks, the way their calloused hands gripped the bat, ready to bear down, ready to get some. They did not know it was enough to find us with their eyes across the field behind the gated fence when the air smelled of manure and rotting grass, when we did not yet know we wanted them. And this one is called Brothers, and this is a poem that was all sound. Everything, this was one of these found poems, if you know what I mean. The Brothers. Remember when you called Bixby ugly? You told him to shut his face. You shouldn't have done that, man. You're right, shouldn't have. There's our boy. He's coming in to lead the pack. He looks good out there. How much you want to bet he coughs up his chicken? You shouldn't have eaten all that chicken. We had 3 donuts each. Tomorrow we go healthy. That movie scared the crap out of me. Mr. I Call Mommy After Ghost Hunters. I just wanted to hear her voice. That's the girl I was telling you about. I just liked what she said, commenting on her status. I don't know what else to say. No, man, I don't even know her. Did you see her status? You're a relationship man. You're going to marry a redhead. She's not going to be a burden. She's not one of those girls. Poor Bixby, his teeth are in bad shape too. Hey man, don't rip on Bixby. Remember when he passed out? That kid almost died. I'm worried about my old man. He's going to the Giants game on 9/11. You think they blow up a stadium? Yeah, maybe I'm a better son. Lots of fathers and sons get emotional. Not mine. If I don't call him, he don't call me. Hey, I text my old man every morning. You and your dad have balance. Like I said, you guys got balance. If I tell you everything, how am I going to stay ahead of you? Did you see that underarm? It's sick. I'm going to get me one of those. If you can't survive economics, you should take business. Everything goes back to business. Our boy sure looks pretty out there. Did you see his footwork? Did you see that slide? And this one is called The Mothers. We loved them. We got up early to toast their bagels, wrap them in foil. We filled their water bottles and canteens. We washed and bleached their uniforms, the mud and dirt and blood washed clean of brutality. We marveled at their bodies, thighs thick as the trunk of a spindle pine, shoulders broad and able, the way their arms filled out, the milk they drank. At the plate, we could make out their particular stance, though each wore the same uniform, as if they were cadets training for war. If by chance one looked up at us and gave us a rise with his chin or lifted a hand, we beamed. We had grown used to their grunts, mumbles, and refusal to form a full sentence. We made their beds and rifled through their pockets and smelled their shirts to see if they were clean. How else would we know them? We tried not to ask too many questions and not to overpraise. Sometimes they were ashamed of us. If we laughed too loud, if one of us talked too long to their friend, of our faces that had grown coarser. Mom, can't you put on lipstick? We let them roll their eyes, curse, and grumble at us after a game if they missed a play or lost. We knew to keep quiet, the car silent the entire ride home. What they were to us was inexplicable. Late at night, after they were home in their beds, we sat by the window and wondered when they would leave us and who they would become when they left the cocoon of our instruction, what kind of girl they liked. We sat in a group and drank our coffee and prayed they'd get a hit. If they fumbled a ball or struck out, we felt sour in the pit of our stomach. We paced, we couldn't sit still or talk. Throughout summer, we watched the trees behind the field grow fuller and more vibrant, and each fall slowly lose their foliage. It was as if we wanted to hold on to every and each leaf. And this one is called The Fathers. While we waited in our cars, already gassed up, still dawn, no light, dark as a... They got up late, slunk out of bed and into the shower, and took too long under the water. We waited for them to stumble out the door, crawl into the back and stretch out, their hair still wet, and sleep again, while we drove sometimes 2 hours to the field. When they woke, we gave them bacon and egg sandwiches. We wanted them to get stronger, meaner. We wanted their bodies to perform like well-oiled machines. We'd been there before. We worked, some of us, at jobs we didn't like, in offices, in hospitals, in construction, to put food on the table and make the mortgage, to send our boys to college. In our offices, we pushed aside documents to make out rosters. We evaluated their stance, what they needed to do to get underneath it, to throw farther, increase their speed, realize their potential. For years after dinner, weekends, we took them to the field and threw the ball, hit them grounders, brought them to the cages. When they hit the ball hard, stole home, executed a double play, we lived on it for days. Some nights when they were in a slump, our dreams were inchoate and thick. When they went up to the bat, we saw if they partied too hard the night before. One of us had a boy gone soft for a girl and lost his focus. Others had boys who were loud and cocky or meandered to the plate with heads bowed as if they were living ghosts. We saw when they were confident, when they lacked drive, were defeated. We paced, we rattled the fence, cursed. We scrutinized every play, unable to step back as if we were under a trance in some kind of white haze, as if we were Abraham, under the instruction of a benevolent God, taking our son to the top of the mount to sacrifice his life for something better than his forebearer. And I have just a few more of these baseball poems. This one is called The Spectators. Bold, brash, and obsessed, for hours each day, they lift, go to the cages, swing the bat. Clear-eyed, single-minded, they can't see anything beyond. The outliers are scrappy, unafraid to get dirty. They slide and lunge. They're the procrastinators, the ones that barely work out, like to have fun. The timid ones are spindly. They know they don't quite belong, but tough it out. The jokesters are perpetually late. They send out texts before the game. Out still 6 a.m, still drunk. There's at least one on a team who thinks too hard. He's analyzed speed, velocity, knows how to read a ball. For him, nothing comes easy. And look, farther afield comes the soulful one, still in half uniform, soon to take the baton. Let's see. The pillage. Time passes into the limbs of the boys on the field, stretching before the season's last game, into memories of their phantom selves, tugging wheelbarrows through fields, flying gleefully over one bump and another, into the lines and furrows of their brows, into the solid precision of their bodies, trained to field and battle. Time passes, the day nearly recollection. They come rushing from the dugout in uniform to take their positions, confident, aware of the fleeting glory of the moment. Their faces glow like the last lightning bugs of the season, heat and adrenaline bursting from their bodies. Let's watch the enlightened leaves burn into dark and angry flames. 12, the dugout. They like it here, shaded from the sun, drinking Gatorade in the dugout among the solitude of brothers. After one strikes out or misses a ball, angry fathers climb the gated fence that separates spectators from players and curse. All night, only the male crickets chirp, nocturnal and cold-blooded. They take on the temperature of their surroundings. They run the tip of one wing along the teeth at the bottom of the other. Their wings up and open like acoustical sails, the sound relentless and unending. 13, the players. Thirsty, hot, crazed by the mosquitoes, they've had enough. At the plate, they dig their cleats into the batter's box, swing and miss. Looks like a no-hitter, the coach hisses. The sunflowers, grown gawky behind the stands, have matured into a tougher flower. The day darkens, the season is finished. They take off their caps. Oh, okay. So thank you. Thank you so much. So now I'm going to read you some sonnets about the beach. These sonnets were actually inspired by a beach town. And I'll start with Sonnet for the Misbegotten. The surfers are on deck in black diving penguin suits, fins on their feet, surfer school for the youth of the rich set, determined to catch a wave while somewhere less pristine another suffers from inner unrest. Look, the anorexics are frantically speed-walking the beach, pumping 3-pound weights, ignoring the ocean view. At last evening's barbecue, we discussed our boys, dyslexic, attention deficient, prone to depression. How will we get through? A sandpiper, regal in white and gray, pecking frantically in the sand, observes me, creature from another world, on my deck chair. And this one is called, well, let's see. This is a fun one. This is called Ode. Somebody stole my yellow flip-flops. I guess they needed them more than me. I left them by the side of the sandhill before my beach walk. Everyone does. I bought them at Kmart for $10.99. I wear them in the garden, cloud or shine, when I'm painting my toes. After my shower, they wait like a faithful friend so I don't slip. They're the cheapest thing I own. It makes me sad, the lack of humanity, the guts, the betrayal. I search the beach for the culprit, a man with son digging a castle, another headed for a swim. I regret I'll never see them again. Oh, that's cute. And then this one is called After the Storm. The harsh sand stings, the salt air is bitter, the sun makes everything sharp. I pick up a seashell and it crumbles. My mother is frail, she forgets, everything is covered with Post-its. An enriched beginning, a new life the lit espoused, as if the past washed away in a brutal wave and freed her. Look, an aged sea turtle has left its shell in the sand. The golden beach widens. A generation of seabirds is dying. We laid a grave of new sand to replace what's lost, erected seawalls to forestall erosion. The terrain is unsettled. We can't save our beaches or anyone. Gulls scavenge the plot, the ocean's embroiled. And then I'm just going to read two more. This one is called Morning Nocturne. I'm glad today is dark, no sun, sky ribboning with amorphous, complicated layers. I prefer cumulus on my morning beach run. What more can we worry about? Our parents are getting older and money is running out. The children are leaving. The new roof is damaged by rain and rot. I fear the thrashing of the sea in its unrest, the unforgiving cricket. But that's not it. The current is rising. The dramas are playing out. Perhaps it's better to be among these sandpipers with quick feet dashing out of the surf than a person who wishes to feel complete. And then I'm going to leave you with marriage nests. In the tree in the yard is a bird's nest. Remnants of paper, grass, tangled blood roots, a courtship, an elaborate masterpiece of brutal entanglement. For some species, a shallow depression made in sand. Years ago, when nothing much was at stake, we held hands in the park. The solid, unswerving way the world newly divided opened a field of possibility. The birds are skittish or in harmony. They draw sustenance from close comfort. One cannot exist without the other. I hear him get up, the sound of heavy footsteps. Birds call, a cry deeper than hurt or love. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Jill Bialosky, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Jill. That was lovely. Thanks also to the sea, wherever they are, my dears. And to Melanie and Michael For those of you who would like to take Jill Bialosky home tonight, we have several of her books instead, including most especially her wonderful new book of poems, The Players. Superb book, which she would be delighted to sign for you. Remember, the Arts Café is a tribute to you. This is community, my friends, and doesn't it feel good? Thanks so much. Good night.